Ryan Swïtzer, Mr. Swift Current, is joining us. Swïtzer, you pumpkin pie guy?
No, not so much. I like the ice cream that often goes with it. But no, I'm more of an apple pie guy if we're being honest here. And thank you very much for having me. And pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. Hewitt. I
Yes.
was a big fan back in the day growing up. Used to watch you do the sports every day at lunch right after the Flintstones. So it's
Yeah.
nice to be sharing some airtime with you, sir.
Well, and some of those times I was actually awake, not always.
Yeah, you were probably having a bowl of soup as well, just like we were as
Well,
kids.
it was tough when the Flintstones went down, don't you think? Like the Flintstones,
No.
that was a fabulous television show. And all of a
It
sudden
was a staple.
gone.
Grilled cheese, tomato soup, the Flintstones, and yourself hitting the sports. Feeling nostalgic now.
It was always a treat when Gazoo made an appearance, or the Gruesomes, those episodes next door. Lots of fun. Okay, Swïtz, I wanted to bring you on today, talk about a few things, but the Colby Cave ceremony, I don't know if that's the proper word to use it. What went down in North Battleford this weekend? You were emceeing it. I saw on social media. Just, the guy was an absolute legend in North Battleford. What can you tell us about that and how it all went?
Well, it was a great weekend in North Battleford. Of course, the world lost Colby Cave in the early stages of the pandemic in 2020. And it was a sad story. You had this charismatic person who was loved by all, who left us all alone in a restricted hospital during that. And there wasn't really some great opportunities to say goodbye to him. So this weekend in North Battleford, there's a 2,000 square foot mural near their city hall in downtown North Battleford. They had the official unveiling on that. It was beautifully crafted by Regina artist Harley Sinclair, who's done a lot of work around Regina. And he created a masterpiece in North Battleford. And they also had a fundraising event to officially launch the Colby Cave Legacy Scholarship Fund, which is going to help out people in North Battleford. And they had a great event there at the North Battleford Decker Center. Very well attended with some of the best and brightest in North Battleford. And it was just a great weekend of remembering Caver and celebrating that mural, which is now going to be a big thing in downtown North Battleford. But it was lots of memories about Colby Cave, the human being, and anything you've ever heard about the kid, it's 100% true. Genuinely one of the best guys that you'll ever meet, and he's certainly missed now. But anytime you have the opportunity to sit down and tell a story about him and the way he operated and his approach to life, then it always brings a smile to your face.
Go
ahead, Don.
Well, there are times when you watch Colby playing for the Broncos in the Western Hockey League, and he looked like a man against boys on occasions. And he was going to develop into a very strong NHL player, and he was starting that process for sure. But like you said, tell us about how he handled that. Like once he got in the NHL, more notoriety. Did he ever change, or what? How was his personality once he got going with the Oilers?
Just the same, he's a farm kid from North Battleford, and that small town work ethic and humility, it just never left him at the pro level. And I was fortunate enough to be able to stay in touch with him as he made his way up through the Edmonton Oilers organization and the Boston Bruin organization before that. And his motto and his approach to life was be somebody that makes everybody feel like a somebody. And those words are adorned on the mural in downtown North Battleford, and it's just a good reminder of the guy that he was. And Don, you talk about him being a man among boys.
Yeah.
He was in unreal shape. And as a teammate, he had the captaincy, but he was still the first guy in the gym every morning, and just muscles in places that some people don't even have places. And he, he played a tough game. He played a physical game. And I think one of the most amazing things about him, too, is in his Western Hockey League career, he only ever missed 2 games. And I think one of them, he was early in his career, he was a healthy scratch, and he said, "I'm never going through this again." And he played his heart out every night, and he played tough. And yeah, you look at his stats, you look it up on Hockey DB or Elite Prospects or wherever you find those things, and his Western Hockey League career, a steady stream of 72s, which was the entire regular season schedule. So just tough yet humble, great sense of humor. And, just a guy, the first time you talk to him, you feel like you're talking to an old friend. And the second time you talk to him is even cooler because he's asking you about your kids and the things that you learned from the first time talking to you. So literally just one of the most genuine human beings ever.
And you were talking about, because when I think of like North Battleford, I guess athletes, that would be somewhat royalty, and North Battleford could use that. Ruben Mays obviously comes to mind, but Don Hodgins, Ryan's dad, and coaching there for years, hockey and football, and that program they had at North Battleford Comp was amazing. Lee Ulmer now kind of doing that in there. You mentioned though, like his family, you didn't get. We were texting back and forth. You didn't get the scope of what his family means to that community as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah, Jen and Al Cave and Colby's sister Taylor. They're very well respected there. They're salt of the earth people. Alan running the farm operation, cattle operation in North Battleford. Jen, a fixture at the Downtown Credit Union, and after Colby unfortunately passed away in 2020, when they got back to North Battleford, there was this several miles long parade of cars just waiting to greet them along the highway. And it was just one of those small town heartwarming moments that only seem to come from Saskatchewan.
I remember that aerial view, and it's hard not to get choked up thinking about it, because how he passed away, and it was like the brain bleed, and it was right around COVID, and it was just
his family. Or go ahead, guys.
Well, you obviously, Ryan, knew him very well. I didn't know him at all. I just admired him as a hockey player. But when he passed away, it just doesn't make any sense. And you go back to only the good die young, don't you? Like, you just can't understand it.
No, and I often think about that. We're all on this journey to become the best versions of ourselves. And, I got a lot of gray hair on my head, and I still haven't quite figured out what that best version looks like. But Caver had it figured out. Yeah. But Colby, I mean, he had it figured out. I first met him when he was 18 years old. And, he was voted team captain by the Swift Current Broncos. His teenage teammates respected him to put the C on his jersey. But in my capacity working with him as an adult, he was just so relatable to adults as well. So I often think about that adage of only the good dying young. And I think the meaning of life, or however you want to spin it, we're all looking for it. And Caver had it figured out.
Okay, we got you here. We're going to talk about the Broncos. Obviously, a lot of the talk over the last little while is Coach Dean De Silva. 5-game suspension, fined $10,000. I kind of caught wind of what happened in practice. It was nothing that didn't happen when I was playing hockey, or a lot of us were playing hockey, but just unfortunate, right? Because it's just a small community. They did have something under Chad Leslie's watch a couple of years ago with a coach happen there, and it's just magnified, right? Because the Broncos are the town Swïtzer.
Well, they are, and they're going through it right now. It's tough to lose a coach under those circumstances, under any circumstances. But having said that, the Broncos, they're still the thing to do in Swift Current. I think they're on more than a 2-year streak of not having a game with under 2,000 people in attendance at the rink. And when you're in a market of 16,000 people, that's huge. So it's losing a coach at any point during the season. Barney, you've played hockey at a competitive level. You know that can be tough. But I think the players, they're right now on their U.S. swing. They're going to be heading into Seattle tomorrow night, so they've had lots of time in each other's space. They're in the midst of their their U.S. road swing, which can be a great team bonding thing. And in Swift Current, we've had a couple home games since it happened, and the community is still very much behind the Swift Current Broncos. And when there's a song in the Jesse Jen song, or a line in the song that talks about being a player for the Swift Current Broncos. It's a song about the 4 players that passed in 1986, and that line was, "They were someone else's sons, but we loved them like our own." And that's still very much a thing. Hockey's still very much a thing. We have boards of directors and people who can handle the complicated stuff, but at the end of the day, everyone in town, they're still going to the rink and they're still having a good time and enjoying the beverages and the concessions and everything that you do at a hockey game.
Okay, give it some of the bright spots for the team this year. They got a lot of young guys and some good young local guys. There's a guy that watches every game. Give us some of the players to watch on the Broncos.
Big fan of their starting goaltender, Joey Rocha. He's a 20-year-old from Vancouver Island. He actually spent some time in Wilcox playing for the Notre Dame Hounds and one of their programs there. So he's a good kid. He gives the Swift Current Broncos. It's a team that maybe doesn't stack up roster-wise as well as some of the heavy hitters in the league, but Joey gives you a chance to win each and every night, and he's been playing really well. You talk about local kids. The Broncos made a move at the beginning of the year to get Hudson Darby out of Portland, and he was recently anointed with the C on his jersey, and he's a solid two-way player who works hard, the son of a fireman, and he gives 110% every night. And then from the talent end of things, you got a young man named Noah Kosick who was acquired in the offseason from the Calgary Hitmen, and this is a kid who just has a nose for the net and is finding a way to put up points. So there's plenty of on ice bright spots in Swift Current this year.
We were talking earlier in the show about Jeremy O'Day and what a team builder he is, and talk about teamwork. I think of the city of Swift Current and what the city does. Last I checked, they were the smallest city in the CHL. I don't know if that still holds true. But the job that community does on game day with all the volunteers to keep a CHL team in a community the size of Swift Current, I would ask anybody to go there for a game and see how a community works so tightly together, so well together, so sort of harmonious to keep this team in Swift Current. It's actually, for somebody from Regina or anywhere else, it's incredible to see.
I lived it.
Everybody's a volunteer. I think there's one guy in the building that gets a salary. Maybe the guy that drives a Zamboni, maybe he does it free. I don't know. Everybody there is a volunteer. It's amazing.
Yeah, game day,
you can talk about that maybe if you want, Ryan.
Yeah, game day staff of around 200 people that aren't full-time employees. So that's 200 people 30 some odd times a year, and it's something that really brings the community together. And from an on-ice perspective, it's what makes Swift Current a really special place to play. I host a podcast that is enjoyed weekly by dozens, the Broncos This Week podcast, and we often get alums on there talking about their experience. And Dale Weiss, he talks about his time in Swift Current, former NHLer, played Montreal, Philadelphia, and yeah, exactly. And he was known as the Dutch Gretzky because in one of the lockout years, he went and played overseas and put up some pretty ridiculous numbers. But in talking to Dale, he said the best hockey experience, and I hope I'm quoting him properly here, but his favorite hockey memories come from Swift Current. This guy played in Amsterdam. And he's like, nah, Swifty was the best. So yeah, Swift Current. We don't share a lot with Amsterdam when you're describing the places, but downtown Swifty, it's a little bit different. But
when the shack was buzzing, Switzer, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Well, you still got NHL players that have gone back and lived there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Trent McCleary, board chair. He's a part of things, and Travis Moen, who's helping coach the team as well. He's on the bus with the boys now, stepping in as an assistant coach, and his son Carter plays on the team, and it's a feather in the cap for the organization to have a Stanley Cup winner behind the bench for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Beauty, Swïtzer. Always a pleasure. Let's do this again in a few weeks. Get a little update from you. And I was thinking about it. As you mentioned, this is a true story. I used to get home from the morning show, around noon or whatever from the radio station, and I would make my lunch. Everett Hindley was my roommate, now the MLA. And we would watch CTV Regina, Don Hewitt, and then Everett would go back to work for Mr. Wall, and I would hunker in and watch North of 60. It was how it was in the winter, and then I got ready to play senior hockey that night. I loved living in Swift, man. Swïtzer, always a pleasure, buddy. Next time you're in town, let's have a beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to catch up with an Abbey Eagles legend, and pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. Hewitt. So.
Oh, Ryan, you were brilliant on this segment, by the way.
Yeah. He's an old radio guy.
You can see that. You're a talented dude.
He should.
I can tell that by listening to you.
Well, greatly appreciated, guys, and looking forward to the rest of the show here. It's
right on.
It's been a slice.
Thanks. Hey, pecan pumpkin pie. See how we wrapped that up there? It's been a slice.